Much like Bill Gates is to Microsoft and Richard Branson to Virgin, Stelios is EasyJet and EasyJet is Stelios.
He created the airline at the age of only 28, helping to pioneer the model of low-cost, no-frill flying in the UK. Let's take a look at how he did it. Stelios Hagianou was born in Athens in 1967, the middle child of three, to Lucas, a multimillionaire shipping magnate, and his wife. His father was nicknamed the Tanker King and heavily influenced Stelios' childhood. He learnt from his father's office in the garden of his family home, attending business meetings with him before going into business himself. Stelios himself studied hard at school and said he would make it on his own, rather than relying on the inheritance from his father. He went on to study economics at the London School of Economics at the age of only 17, and was well known due to driving a Porsche around London as a student. He liked to analyse and debate problems before coming to a logical solution, and later attended Cass Business School, gaining an MSc in shipping, trade and finance. To stop him undertaking a PhD, his father offered him the role of CEO of his company, Troodos Shipping. Stelios took him up on the offer and returned to Greece. In 1998, he worked at the family's business, debating how to run the company with his father, trying to bring new ideas to the table, whilst his father tried to stop him. In 1999, one of their tankers, the Amico Haven, exploded off the coast of Genoa, killing 5 crew members and spilling 50,000 tonnes of crude oil into the Mediterranean. After the incident, Stelios coined one of his favourite catchphrases: "If you think safety is expensive, try an accident." Stelios and his father were accused of poor maintenance and of using ageing vessels not fit for purpose, initially being charged with manslaughter, but eventually being cleared of all charges. At the age of 25, Stelios struck out on his own, setting up his own tanker business, initially named Blue Weave Tankers, buying new ships for his venture with a €30 million loan from his father. He later renamed the business Stelmar Tankers in 1997 and recruited a management team who would look after the business long term. The business was later listed on the New York Stock Exchange in 2001 and sold to a competitor for an eye-watering $1.3 billion in 2005. After selling his business, Stelios was restless, and after doing research on budget airlines in the United States, launched EasyJet in 1995 at the age of only 28. Stelios admitted in an interview his father was pivotal to the founding of EasyJet, providing $30 million in seed funding. He felt he would always have been an entrepreneur, even if it meant running a kebab shop in London. However, his father's seed funding was conditional on Stelios sharing any success of the business with his siblings. From his initial business plan that Stelios keeps in his trophy cabinet, he planned to have around 12 planes, and if he managed to reach 24, it would be a massive success. Stelios had no background in aviation, but brought new ideas to the table, cutting out travel agents and meals, which people thought was mad. He promised to paint the world orange and make it easier than ever to travel the world. The reason for the orange colour scheme was due to it being bright and cheerful and standing out against the dreary competition. EasyJet's inaugural flight went from London Luton to Glasgow and was supported by an advertising campaign making flyable as affordable as a pair of jeans, with tickets only £29 one way. Expansion into Europe followed, with the company taking delivery of its first fully owned planes in 1996 and offering flights from Luton to Amsterdam, Nice and Barcelona. Only 3 years later, EasyJet had carried over 1 million customers and was voted the best low-cost airline. At the start, Stelios was involved in everything, from taking calls from customers to interviewing the cabin crew. He even bought their uniforms from a Benetton in Milton Keynes with his credit card. He made every design, whether it be large or small, and junior staff worshipped him as he sat in the call centre speaking with passengers and would often bring back buckets of KFC from the terminal for his staff. Stelios marketed himself as the people's champion from the outset of EasyJet, a skill learnt from his business hero, Richard Branson, the founder of Virgin, and Freddie Lake, the original low-cost flight champion who founded SkyTrain in the US. Soon after followed a number of businesses with the Easy name that included Easy Pizza, hotels, internet cafes, hire cars and buses. Many of these businesses are now part of the Easy Group, however not all have been successful. One of these, Easy Cruise, which took customers to the Greek islands, was too cheap and to Orange. Stelios admitted the business had been launched too early, but he still runs his remaining businesses with an iron grip, demanding a lot from senior management with long hours and pushing his employees to their limits. His demands were so great that he demanded a switch to a paperless office in order to boost efficiency, so he walked around with a large bin removing it. Employees ended up hiding paper in the ladies' toilet so they could still use it, but Stelios eventually got his way as technology and computers reduced the need for paper in the offices. Stelios stopped EasyJet serving free tea and coffee on planes, as well as charging for food that has now become an industry standard on short-haul flights. Despite these measures, Stelios has avoided the vilification and negative press of Ryanair boss and rival Michael O'Leary. He floated the business in 2000 on the London Stock Exchange only 5 years after founding it to fund future growth. The IPO saw EasyJet valued at £777 million, making it one of Britain's largest 250 companies. Stelios and his family remain the largest shareholders, holding around 15% of the company's shares, with the money raised from the IPO being used to purchase more planes and drastically expand the business. Stelios has introduced a particularly clever model when floating EasyJet, securing income in perpetuity from licensing the EasyJet name, meaning that he continues to receive 25p for every £100 earned on flights. The model has been replicated across the group, and Stelios personally holds over 1,000 trademarks to protect the Easy name. Many of these trademarks have now been licensed to other businesses with the use of the orange logo, and those who try and use the name without permission are often taken to court. The entrepreneur has locked horns with competitors Richard Branson of Virgin and Michael O'Leary of Running Air, and had a running feud with O'Leary for a number of years. O'Leary drove a Sherman tank to EasyJet's operating centre at Luton Airport and drove it around the car park. Stelios later launched a stunt when BA was launching a low-cost airline named Go. He booked 10 seats on the inaugural flight and got on in orange boiler suits, handing out free EasyJet vouchers to all the passengers. In the end, Go was bought out by EasyJet in 2002 to create Europe's #1 air transport network. By 2010, EasyJet was Europe's largest airline, providing over 500 routes for passengers to fly across Europe and North Africa, with the company currently operating 318 planes across 1,100 routes and employing over 10,000 people. Due to the success of EasyJet, Stelios was knighted in 2006 for services to entrepreneurship. That even came as a surprise to the man himself. After quitting the EasyJet board, Stelios launched a rival airline named FastJet. Despite suggestions that the business would provide cheaper business travel in Europe, the airline focused on Africa, acting as part of a joint venture between Stelios and Lorno to offer flights in Eastern Africa. The company initially listed on the AIM market in the UK, but was since taken private. At one point, Stelios and his family owned over 35% of EasyJet, but have been reducing their stakes after a number of arguments with the board over a £5.5 billion plane order and prior fleet expansion that has destroyed shareholder value, in his opinion. He threatened to sue those responsible for the order in 2020, but has since changed his mind and supported the plane order. But he quit the board of the airline and has consistently voted against the new purchase of planes ever since. Stelios is now based in Monaco and is focused on his philanthropic activities through the Stelios Foundation, which he started when he was 40 years old. The foundation funds a number of scholarships to his alma maters LSE and Cass Business School, alongside food centres in Greece and Cyprus, and provides awards for disabled entrepreneurs. Stelios has also signed a giving pledge to donate half of his estate to his foundation upon his death. He has created an iconic brand that is known globally, and it will no doubt continue to succeed in the future.